With the prices of lawn equipment, especially lawnmowers, skyrocketing this year, it's done something that I wasn't completely expecting. Yes, the prices of used mowers has also skyrocketed to match the new stuff, but the one thing I didn't expect was an increased demand in the used market. And I'm happy to report not only has the demand of good working used mowers gone up, but buyers are willing to pay almost anything for them. Take it for what it is, but as long as there are used parts available, there will always be a used market. In today's video, we take a look at this Toro lawnmower, and the problem is that I just picked this one up from a friend that lives about 2 hours away from me, and I don't know much about it, other than it's extremely dirty, but otherwise it's in really good condition, so it should be a good mower once we go through it. Now, I've already made a video about this mower, and if you want to see that video, there should be a link to it at the top of the screen or at the end of the video, and I'm just going to use the video as a background while I talk about how the crazy prices at the home and garden centers has affected the used market and in the most positive way. Well, it depends on what side of the market you're looking from. But overall, this year has been extremely good as far as an increased demand and the willingness of the buyers to purchase a good running mower, and to be honest, they're also willing to pay good money for equipment that's broken or not even running the way it's supposed to. And just like most of the other small engine creators on this platform, we've been working long and hard getting used mowers from either people who are willing to just give them away for free or maybe pick them up for little to no money. And hopefully they're also seeing what I'm seeing, which is a crazy demand of used mowers simply because the price for a new one is extremely high. I knew inflation was bad, but I had no idea it would affect this market the way that it has. Now for this particular mower, I need to make sure it starts and runs before I commit too much time to it, otherwise I could be wasting my time and money on it. If it runs for a few seconds, then we'll move on, but if it doesn't, we'll need to do more diagnostic work to it. Fortunately, the engine started and ran for a few seconds, so I'm confident that it's going to start and run once we take a look at the carb and the rest of the fuel system. If I can get this mower back up and running for only a few dollars, the profit margin on it will be extremely good. Now for something like this, expect to replace the air filter, change the oil, sharpen the blade, and clean the carb. Even with this amount of work and parts, you'll still make enough pocket change to afford a steak dinner and a few drinks at your favorite bar or restaurant. If you're curious as to the main reason why I even bother cleaning these mowers, trimmers, or even the blowers, it's because if you have two mowers at your garage sale, one dirty with grass clippings all over it, sitting next to another one that looks clean and shiny and almost brand new, I hate to tell you, if they're priced the same, the clean one is going to disappear first and the other one might go, but maybe near the end of the day. In fact, try pricing the clean one just a bit more than the dirty one, and you'll be surprised that it's still more likely to be bought first, simply because of first impressions. It's clean, almost new looking, so even if it's 25% more than the dirty one, it must be a good deal. The funny part is that I still see ads online for mowers being sold that are covered in dirt, oil, and grass, and they're still asking for a good chunk of change for them. At least I've seen a few ads where they've at least rinsed off the dirt, but the mower is still wet along with the driveway. They might be doing it the lazy way, but at least they tried. Now, you obviously don't need to go to the extent I'm going to clean these mowers, but I want to do the best I can, or at least as much as I feel like that particular day. Now, will the buyers of these mowers ever know how much I tried to clean these mowers? I very seriously doubt it, but on the off chance they end up taking off the recoil or the cover for the drive belt, they won't find a rat's nest of grass and dirt waiting for them. Now, would it really matter if the mower looks clean or dirty in this high demand market we're in right now? That I don't know, but I will say one thing. If you price a regular push mower at the market average, that mower will more than likely sell the same day. Now, if you're the gambling type and don't mind pricing a mower what you really think it's worth, and don't mind waiting for a buyer that will purchase it for a higher than average price, then yes, it will still sell, but it might take a day or three, but the rewards are well worth it. Remember, you don't go to work at your job for free, so your time you invest in this hobby should be well compensated. Otherwise, you might realize you're putting too much of yourself and your time into these projects, and you need to figure out when to say that's good enough for hourly hobby pay. So in the first round of sales, I was pricing the mowers around the average seen on the market, and they immediately sold. I barely had time to fold the handles back up into working position before the buyers would show up to hand over their money and take them away. Now, in the second round of sales, I got a bit more comfortable pricing them for what I thought my time was worth, and surprisingly, they sold just as fast, which made me feel as though I was headed in the right direction as far as pricing goes. Now that I knew what my boundaries were, I got a bit gutsy, and on the next round of sales, I priced them on the high side of the average. Don't worry, my prices were still lower than the majority of the other ads, and even though it took 2 or 3 days, they still sold as well. With my confidence sky high that the demand on the used market was stronger than ever, I then moved my stock to the garage sales. What I mean by that is that I had a few friends that were willing to sell my equipment for me, and the main benefit to them, besides a small cut in the profits, was that all the mowers that were on display was enough to attract a lot more buyers. If you hadn't figured it out by now, this tactic worked like a charm, and by the end of the first day, everything had sold, and my friends were asking me if I had more mowers to bring over. That way it would attract more curious buyers just like the day before. Unfortunately, this tactic worked a bit too well. What happened next I was not expecting, and even though it was to my benefit, it was going to hurt some of the others that were depending upon me for a never-ending source of clean, good-looking mowers that started and ran just like they were supposed to. What happened was that I wasn't able to fix enough mowers or anything else, as a matter of fact, fast enough to supply the garage sale market, the online market, and finally my personal contacts who knew me from either work or from a long-standing friendship. So in my mind, this sort of demand was unheard of and was putting a lot of pressure on me to get more out. Now, for those of you who don't know, it takes about 10 hours or so for me to produce one of my videos, so to keep up with my upload schedule for both of my channels, I have to use my time wisely between fixing and filming to doing post-production work such as editing, scripting, and voiceover work. So as you can tell, not only do I have a full-time job, but this hobby of mine consumes a lot of my free time. Now don't get me wrong, I get a lot done, but it's not enough to keep up with the high demands of this market, which at this point really doesn't have any boundaries as far as pricing goes. Now, I have thought about asking a premium price for my mowers, blowers, and trimmers only because it really doesn't matter if I sell them. To be quite honest, I don't have an issue of putting what doesn't sell in my storage just to be sold at a different time. That's the benefit of doing this as a hobby and not as a full-time job. Now, you might be saying that sounds like you're price gouging, and my response to that statement is, how much is your time worth to you? Do you think you should make minimum wage for your hobby, or should you make something closer to your hourly rate at your current job? It's not price gouging if your overhead is extremely high. Now, don't misunderstand me when I say I'm asking a premium price for my equipment. I'm just matching what other items are priced at that are also on the high end. So that mower that I sold last week for $120, I saw others asking $150 for the same mower, and theirs barely worked and needed servicing. That's the price I would set my mowers for, and they've been gone through and not needing any maintenance or anything else, as a matter of fact. So here's a reality check. A basic push mower starts at almost $250. The medium range of mowers starts at $300 and goes all the way to $500. Then you have the mowers that when brand new are several $100s. These prices reflect the economy we're living in right now. So unless you happen to be living in a third world country where prices are still pretty low, you can sell your stuff for little to no profit. But if you live here, wherever that might be, and it's not a third world country, the price of everything is higher than it should be, well, I think it's just fair to ask the price that's worth your time and effort. Now, if you don't agree with me, I don't blame you, but if you don't make money for your time and knowledge, then maybe you need to try and do a different type of work. As for me, I'll keep doing it until I feel as though I don't need to. Now, the season is still going on strong, and that means the market is still in high demand, but things are going to slow down here in a week or two as summer finally settles in, but 2 months after that, the market will change again and it'll pick back up. What you're going to find is that the demand will increase again, but this time it'll be for those who are looking to find a good deal on late season sales of mowers, blowers, and trimmers. Now, the blowers will be in higher demand because of leaf season, but not as many consumers are in need of them as the mowers. So what happens in the fall and winter time then? Well, we're going to have to wait and see what it's like with the market the way that it is right now, but if anything, it should be like the same as springtime, but instead of mowers, it's going to be blowers and chainsaws. What's going to happen, at least for me, is that I'm going to continue to try and find free stuff being given away, or I might have to resort to buying non-running and broken equipment. That way I can continue to fix them even in the dead of winter. Then, when springtime comes around, I'll have a large stock of items ready for sale or even barter with. I'm not very demanding on what you have to trade, just so long as I can use it, sell it, or trade it myself for something I might need. Now, I haven't had to make a trade in a long time, but the last time I did, I was selling a generator online. I then got a message from someone who wanted to trade for it, but it was something that I had no use for. What I did was I then made contact with someone who I knew saw monetary value in their trade. After making a few handshakes, the buyer got the generator, I got their trade, and the very next day I traded their item for cash, and as far as I knew, everyone was happy. The one thing that I will do with no exceptions is to take trade-ins. It can be another mower, blower, or trimmer, or anything I can use as far as fixing other equipment. Like I said before, I'm not really all that picky. The only thing that I request is that the item they're trading in was at least complete and not missing too many parts. The reason being is because replacing parts cuts into the profits quite severely, in fact, and it also limits my options when it comes to fixing it. Now, my experience with fixing, filming, and making videos is not unique. There are plenty of other creators on this platform who do the same thing for various reasons, but the one common point is that it's something we at least somewhat enjoy to some extent. Now, I'm not going to speak for them and say they absolutely love what they do, but I would hope they enjoyed it enough that they continue to do it, even if they don't film it anymore. Hopefully they'll come back to this platform, and I hope they're doing well for themselves. The last point I want to make is that even though there are places around the country that are beginning to ban the sale of gasoline yard equipment, I do believe, at least right at the moment, it only applies to retailers like big box stores, although I don't know if that applies to commercial sales for landscaping companies. But what that means is, if you wanted to buy a used gasoline mower, you can still use online ads to find them, and if most consumers had their way, would still be buying gasoline equipment, and that's because most still realize what the real benefit is to having them. Now, I'm not going to state what those benefits are because it's different between consumers. So I don't see these online ads for small engines disappearing anytime soon, nor do I see the banning of gasoline equipment happening within the next 10 or 20 years, and the reason is, if they go away, something has to take their place, and with electric cars becoming more popular, there's not going to be enough lithium to go around, so at some point gasoline and battery equipment will share the market for a very long time. I do have one bit of marketing advice for you. If you see a good running mower for sale and it's well below the market value, buy it and then flip it on the market, but at the price it should be sold at. You can clean it if you want to make it an easy sale, but doing it this way is just easier than getting a broken one and going through the hassle of fixing it. Now, if you decide to get into this hobby with the idea that you're going to make a living doing it, I'd like to see your business model, because it's not an issue of making a profit on each project, it's making sure you have enough business in the first place. I've seen several small engine shops close down not because of mismanagement, but it was because they weren't able to get enough work to stay in business. So my question is, if you were going to sell a few items that you fixed, how would you price them? Would you try to make a profit on them, or would you sell them only to break even? I know your time isn't free, so you have to make something to compensate your time working on them. Who knows, you might realize that pricing these items is a lot tougher than you thought it was going to be. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions about this project or about your own projects, and I hope to see you in the next video.